What's the episode, Tyler?
Taylor.
Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. You can also find this and all other episodes of Taylor's Detroit Sports on iHeartRadio. Straight and full Detroit and Michigan sports coverage 100% of the time. If you have any opinions on everything that's going on in the Detroit sports world, call in or send a text message live on the show at 231-429-3668. Also, you can add me on Facebook as Taylor Phillips, online at facebook.com/TaylorGatorPhillips14. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page. Join my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group. And follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips with 2 L's.
And welcome to episode 158 here on Spreaker. I'm Taylor Phillips alongside Carlos Martinez. How are we doing tonight, Los?
It's a beautiful summer night in Michigan. It's a full moon out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous.
Yep, it is. So tonight we're going to talk about the Tigers continuing to beat themselves up because of Brad Ausmus not helping them. Joba Chamberlain continuing to get beat up until earlier today. He finally threw a scoreless inning. The Red Wings are picking up 2 great free agent acquisitions. And the Pistons getting busy as well. And a couple important Lions news notes.
I know it's a sad day, isn't it? I mean, as far as the Lions fan goes. Now, I'm 45 years old. I never saw Charlie Sanders play live. I have seen film, but isn't that a tragedy? I mean,
yep.
You know, and he was really a big part of the organization. He was a big PR guy. I think he had a lot to do with Calvin Johnson and taking care of him and helping him along through the organization. He plays a big buffer for the Lions, and he will be greatly missed. I have seen film. Have you, Mr. Phillips? Have you ever seen film on Charlie Sanders?
Film on?
Film on him. You know, have you ever seen a film like an NFL film?
Oh, a film on Charlie Sanders. Actually, I have not.
Yeah, film on Charlie Sanders. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't actually.
Guy was amazing. He was the Tony Gonzalez before they were Tony Gonzalez's. They ran the ball a lot more in those days, but they utilized the tight end as a number 1, and he was awesome. He was an incredible player. I mean, if we want to memorialize him for anything, I think the one thing he'd want to be memorialized for would be his play, and Charlie Sanders could play football. I've seen it on film. I wasn't old enough to see him in a game or how he affected a game, but I have seen film. Anyways, go on, man. Sorry.
That's okay. Since we got that out of the way, we'll cross that out. Yeah, it was a tragedy. How about the Lions fan getting the lifetime ban, fine, and community service sentence? Let me read this article real quick. Yes, from yesterday at 4:18 p.m. His name is Marco Beslach, the teenage fan who used a laser pointer at an October 5th Detroit Lions NFL game to distract Buffalo Bills players at Ford Field, was banned from the stadium for life, but his punishment didn't end there. This written by Gus Burns of MLive.com, from MLive.com. The Detroit Free Press this week reported on the criminal punishment served to Beslach following his guilty plea to disorderly conduct. According to online Wayne County 36th District Court records, Beslatch had to pay a $235 fine in February and was ordered to complete 80 hours of community service within 120 days of his November 21st sentencing. Beslatch, now 18, was 17 at the time of the incident. His conviction was delayed, meaning if he complied with the terms of his sentencing, the misdemeanor charge wouldn't appear on his permanent record. Lions team president Tom Lewand told WJR 760 WJR AM's Frank Beckman show after the incident he wished the NFL franchise could have done more to penalize Beslatch from a legal standpoint. Lewand said, quote, "Unfortunately, those laws aren't on the books, but we are together with the city of Detroit and the Detroit Police Department came down with whatever we could, and obviously we as the Lions organization went the extra mile and took the additional steps of banning him from the building." Unquote. There was a public backlash after the incident that resulted in Beslatch's father filing a harassment complaint with West Bloomfield Police the week following the laser incident. Various websites and a Facebook page criticized Beslatch for his actions that were caught on video. Sites encouraged fans to harass the teen online and have shared his personal information, including a home address. Whoops.
Oh, man! Are you out of your mind?
The Lions also revoked the season tickets of a fan who attended the game with Beslatch. Bills quarterback Kyle Orton complained about a green laser pointer shining in his face during Sunday afternoon's game in Detroit. Video shows the laser pointer was shined in Orton's face before he snapped the ball late in the game. Video proof of the laser pointer via Twitter and Vine is in a photo from Prescott Rossi on Twitter, posting the photo and saying, quote, the Lions have identified and banned the fan who used a laser pointer on a few Bills players on Sunday. The Lions lost the game 17-14. Despite the win, Bills coach Doug Marrone made it clear he wasn't pleased about the matter after the game. Marrone added that holder Colton Schmidt was also a laser pointer target in the third quarter when he tried to assist on what ended up being a missed 50-yard Dan Carpenter field goal. Carpenter said, quote, "It was shining on Colton on the hold. As far as that goes, I understand the NFL security is looking into it to see if they can figure anything out." End of article. So,
well, the punk got what he deserved. The punk got what he deserved, basically.
Yep, that's a no-brainer.
You know, I don't know. I think it's kind of, I guess, you know, there's all kinds of people in the world, and they might be Lions fans at the same time, but anybody that would waste their time to go and find his personal information and then share it all over the internet and all that, all of those malicious, hard-acting things, I guess I don't have particular time for. I don't know about you. Would you spend time? I mean, did you really think about if you could just get a hold of that guy's information or anything like that? Because I know I haven't. It just doesn't fit in my DNA. It doesn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't ridicule. I wouldn't quite ridicule that fan yet. No, well, actually not at all.
We can all ridicule him, but the minute that we start minute that we start hacking into his information and doing things maliciously, I mean, me and you can have an opinion about him. I think he's a dirtbag. That's what I think he is. I think he should have stayed home. I mean, he should grow up. That's, you know what I mean? Have you ever heard, did you ever hear when Raiola was screaming in the locker room, grow up, everybody, blah, blah, grow up? You know? The kid needs to grow up. That's just kid stuff. I mean, a laser pointer, really? Seriously? And I feel bad for the people that got their season tickets revoked. You know, that they're being penalized because they know a jackhole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's only fair. So, back to Charlie Sanders. I have more information on him. He died of cancer. He was Charlie Sanders died of cancer. He was 68. Malignant tumor behind Sanders' right knee in November, and that was discovered in November, according to the Free Press. Sanders spent his entire 10-year 1968 to 77 NFL career with the Lions, recording 336 catches for 4,817 yards and 31 touchdowns. His career receptions mark stood as a franchise record for 20 seasons until it was surpassed by Herman Moore in 1996. Tight ends were primarily considered blockers until Sanders helped to expand the role and create a new weapon in Detroit's offense. He was selected to and a graduate of the University of Minnesota, and he was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2007, becoming just the seventh tight end ever enshrined. NFL draft. He went on to be affiliated with the team for the next 40-plus years in various capacities, including as an assistant coach. By the time he entered the Hall of Fame, he was working as the Lions' assistant director of pro personnel. Sanders also dabbled in some TV work, including a stint from 1983 to 88 as a color analyst on Lions radio broadcasts. As a player, Sanders began charitable work with the March of Dimes and was a United Way spokesman for the team. That carried on past his playing days. Sanders helped leading the Family to Family Foundation of Michigan, the Charlie Sanders Scholarship Foundation, and the Charlie Sanders Foundations Have a Heart, Save a Life program. Sanders is survived by his wife, Georgiana, and 9 children: Maya, Charisse, Mary Jo, Georgiana, Charlie Jr., Nathalie, or Natalie, or whatever, Talisa, Wayne, and Jordan. Mary Jo Sanders, his daughter, was a professional boxer and a 6-time world champion. Wayne Sanders, his son, played football for the Saginaw Valley State Cardinals. Calvin Johnson on Twitter's tweeted, praying for the Sanders family, R.I.P. Charlie. You can follow Calvin Johnson's official Twitter handle at Calvin Johnson Jr. This article headlined Detroit Lions Hall of Famer Charlie Sanders dies at 68 by headline written by Brendan F. Quinn of NLive.com. And we already talked about it. Like we mentioned.
It was sad, man. I'm telling you what. Yeah, he was a great tight end, bro. He was a great tight end, and he meant a lot to... He helped Calvin Johnson mold the maturity that he has. He helped a lot of those guys mold their maturity into who they are. He had a good eye for talent, I think, too. So, he's going to be missed, and I hope everybody keeps, the Sanders family in their prayers. I know he's in my prayers. So, yeah, let's move on.
Yep, so the Tigers got swept by the Pirates after taking 4 out of 6.
Yeah. Have we ever seen that before?
They took 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh in mid-April. Can you imagine? They're just... I don't know. I don't know how to describe this. The Pirates are, like I mentioned before, we're in second place going into that series, the beginning of that series.
Yeah. And we saw and the people on Twitter are saying that was a magnificent game the other night when we went into all those innings. They were saying, "Oh, that was a magnificent game." Yeah. It was a World Series of mediocrity. It was the World Series of mediocrity.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, the Pirates need us, man. We are supposed to be the Tigers. We need to demand that we become the Tigers. Because we can't deal with another excuse. The excuse can't be, well, Verlander's arm isn't working. Or Martinez was injured for a little bit.
Yeah, Victor Martinez is back in the lineup already.
And he's hitting out of his mind.
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
He's hitting out of his mind. And Ausmus cannot win these games.
Nope, he cannot.
Why do you bring out Joba? What part of don't bring Joba out anymore
Are you out of your
can we
mind?
possibly scream from the top of our lungs? No more Joba, please. No more Joba for us. We're all Joba'd out.
Right. He didn't allow a run today, but he still got himself into a jam and could have allowed 1 or 2 or 3 runs like he did last night and the night before. It's that simple.
Right? And it's going to skew his numbers. And that outing, believe it or not, is going to skew his numbers. He really is awful. Sometimes he gets lucky. He's one of those guys that really for the role. Basically, if I had to do a scouting report on him, that would be my scouting report. My scouting report is Joba is more lucky than good. He's going to get in trouble. He's going to allow us to score runs. He's going to put us in a position to win games. But sometimes he gets lucky. But it's a 50-50 draw with him, though. Just as many times as he gets lucky, he doesn't. So, and that's no place for $100 million. And I'm going to keep bringing it up because, again, listen, Mr. Phillips, you don't go to a Cadillac store and buy a Cadillac and expect Scion service. Do you understand what I mean?
Yep.
You don't go to a Cadillac store and buy a Cadillac and expect. And that's what we're getting. That's what we've got right now. We have guys that are actually playing, right? I mean, come on. This Castellanos thing, like you were saying, Wilson was wheeling and dealing in that game. I cannot believe how well these guys were actually playing, and he cannot win the game.
Agreed. That's Alex Wilson. Correct?
He burns some ice can.
I think I'm losing you.
Hello?
Yep. Carlos, yeah? I can hear you.
Are you there?
Yep.
Do we have connection? Are we still on?
Yep. I'm hearing you. Can you hear me?
All right.
Continue.
Go ahead, man. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, that was Alex Wilson you were talking about, right?
Yeah, wheeling and dealing. in the long game. The long, really long game, the one that started in June and ended in July.
Yeah, the 14-inning game that the Pirates still managed to win. Tigers had
Wilson
5 or 6 chances.
Was wheeling and dealing. Wilson that night was wheeling and dealing, baby.
He's our 8th-inning guy. And the Tigers had 6...
He should be our 8th-inning guy. I don't know why he is not our 8th-inning guy.
The Tigers had 6 scoring chances to win the game walk-off style. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th innings.
We only needed one. Right, and we only needed one.
Just one run.
We only needed one. He couldn't manufacture one stinky run.
Nope, he could not. Brad Ausmus just couldn't lead his team.
What else do you say about the guy? You can't say anything.
Right.
Well, we've been saying it for how long now?
2 months or so.
And the pitchforks are out, bro.
Yep.
The pitchforks are out on this cat. If you listen to sports radio or you look at social media, the pitchforks are out on Ausmus. Now the next question is, where do you go to get a manager? I know where I would go.
Buck Showalter.
Buck Showalter isn't going anywhere, man. He's in first place. Why would he want to come to a team that's 6 games out? Why? And we're talking about divisions here. We're not talking about wild cards. We're talking about division here.
Right.
Why would he leave a first place team to come to a team that is 6 games out? We need to go get the skip. We need to see if the skip can't snap this ball club into something, man.
What kind of skip you talking about?
I gotta believe. I'm talking about Leland.
Jim Leland. He
Leland is still part of the thing. He's still part of the Tigers organization.
Yep.
They need to go get Leland. They need to go knock on his door and say, hey, man, you know what? The kid ain't cutting it. He's got to go. Bye. And we don't need you to consider the voyage. We need you to just guide us home. We are only 6 games out. And I think we're talented enough for us to overcome that particular obstacle. But we cannot overcome that obstacle with Ausmus at the helm.
Yeah, Jim Leland was
Ausmus has to go.
Jim Leland was a great leader, except he didn't even do much math, or in terms of statistics and who's better.
No, for the team, man. Well, Taylor, the raw statistics that we're seeing are that we have 2 guys that are better than Nick.
Yeah, Andrew Romine and Josh Wilson.
You've got 2 guys that are playing better than Nick, and Nick is still playing. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I don't even know why Nick Castellanos is even on this roster, on this active roster. He should have been sent down to the AAA Toledo Mudhens 2 or 3 weeks ago. And Brad Ausmus was still playing Nick Castellanos in the bottom of the 8th when he could have pinch he could have pinch hit him with Andrew Romine. He had a better batting average than Nick Castellanos, for crying out sideways.
Crying out sideways. I like it.
Thank you. Got that from my dad.
All right. Yeah, man. I don't know. So here we are, and we're at the break, and the big bad elephant's in the room. The coach is on the hot seat. The fans have got the pitchforks out.
The manager?
Do the Tigers make a deal? Do the Tigers make a deal outside of the manager?
They have traded for Alexei Casilla. They traded a player to be named later to the Tampa Bay Rays for infielder Alexei Casilla. Your thoughts?
I would sure like to see Cueto somehow added.
I couldn't get that. Say it again.
I said I would much rather have it be Cueto. You know, I don't know. I don't even know why are the Rays letting him go. That's the part that doesn't make any sense to me. What is it that the Rays know that we don't?
Oh, man. Cueto? Brian Eimers pointed out that Alex Avila hit a home run today for the Toledo Mud Hens. He played 7 innings behind the plate.
Yeah, and his bat's a little cold, but hey, he's a concussion away from ending his career, so his bat's as cold as it ever was. His bat's as cold as it ever was, and he hasn't got a concussion.
Yeah, and Ausmus is not even aware of that. He's still sticking with Avila as his starting catcher against right-handed pitching, and still uses McCann at the dish against lefties.
McCann has been playing out of his mind, dude. If you're not gonna ride that hot hand, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why Ausmus has, for some odd reason, Ausmus has this thing where he feels like he's got to be loyal to the guys. He doesn't have to be loyal to freaking anybody. He needs to put the best players on the field. That's what he needs to do.
Yep, and he's not doing it. He's still not doing it. He's still playing terrible players on the field and leaving them out there for too long, and that's bad.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head. Too long. You wonder what that does to the psyche of the kid. You wonder, if you're going to let me go out there and just totally flame out, and every time we lose the game, it's the same stupid reason, and usually I'm involved, and I've got to keep flaming out over and over and over again, and you won't have any mercy on me and give me the hook. You wonder what that does to their psyche. Is Ausmus ruining good players? Is Ausmus ruining good players?
Yeah, for example, Joakim Soria. Brian Eimers just commented, Ausmus is a different kind of special right now. Explain that.
Well, yeah, he's different and he's special. Yeah, he's a different kind of special. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? I don't know. So, what do you think of that? What do you think of the trade they made?
Well, hopefully it can replace Nick Castellanos. Alexei Casilla can Alexei Casilla can back up Ian Kinsler. They already at third base, they already have Andrew Romine and Josh Wilson. So they have enough third basemen. What they need is a backup second baseman. And since Hernan Perez was claimed off waivers by the Brewers, Ian Kinsler was the only second baseman they have left. And
so, as Tiger fans, should we be excited that we got a backup catcher? Are we going to win the pennant now?
James McCann and Brian Holiday. Brian Holiday has been doing better than he had last year. Than he had been doing last year. Statistically, he can run and now he can hit, and so can James McCann. Avila is still too beaten up, and he might stay in Toledo longer than we expect.
Avila is playing out of his mind. Oh, I'm sorry, not Avila. Avila is about ready to get another concussion. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Avila is playing without a concussion, but Victor is playing out of his mind. Victor Martinez is playing out of his mind. J.D. Martinez is playing out of his mind. Mickey is playing out of his mind.
Yep.
We should be winning ball games. We should not be losing ball games like this.
Yeah, it seems as if this Tigers team is playing more like individuals who like to put up big statistics and win individual awards like the Cy Young and the Triple Crown and the MVP. All they do is just win the AL Central consecutive times and not even win the World Series once since 1984. That's the point I'm making over and over again. And it's making me seasick.
Here's how I feel about the statistical stuff, about the individual statistical stuff. I wouldn't say that there is a selfish player on the Tigers. I wouldn't say there's a selfish player on the Tigers.
No, they're not selfish. No. Sometimes some of the players just act arrogant about, for example, when they talked about the fans booing when they were struggling.
For me, when I look at that frustration, what he's supposed to be doing, right? He's giving us a reason to put him. He personally has become more consistent. Right?
Yep.
Since that incident, he's straightened himself out, basically. So I'm good with it. Okay. He said what he said. Again, I don't think it helps out his brand. I don't know what that does for him as a player or endearing him to us as fans. But hey, he is playing more consistent, and we will cheer for him. So, but we need more than a backup catcher. We need more than a backup second baseman. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
We need an arm. We need an arm. Because JB doesn't look like he's going to be JB again. Not this year, anyways.
Right.
So, is it done for him? Is JB done for the year? What do you expect out of JB going forward, from what you've seen?
Well, the rehab doesn't seem to be helping out, pending his performance back in the majors for the first 3 starts back, and he has given up. He's given up like it's like He's got 2, 6, 8, 11. He's given up 11 runs in his first 3 starts back. First 3 starts of the season, and he just hasn't been the Justin Verlander we wanted to be. We wanted him to be, and that we expected him to be when he came back.
You mean this $28 million price tag? You mean the $28 million that we're spending on him this year? We expected more?
Yeah, we expected more because Justin Verlander is usually a phenomenal pitcher. He likes to he picks runners off, and he used to throw that blazing upper 90s fastball, maybe the 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the late mid 2000s. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yep, and then his arm fell off.
Yeah, remember when he got those no-hitters?
He doesn't have any pitches, dude. He doesn't have any other. Why is Ausmus having him get 100 miles?
Say that again.
Do you know that Ausmus has him throwing in the 90s late in games? The games that Verlander has played, Ausmus has had him throwing in the high 90s late in the game.
Wow. That's still good. He may be getting some of it back this year.
Listen, if the guy's rehabbing, I wouldn't be having him throwing in the high 90s. If he's not getting it done in the early innings, I'm not having him throw heat in the later.
Nope.
Verlander's had two good outings and 2 bad outings. He's batting 500 now. And as a pitcher, that's not going to work out. Not at $28 million, it's not.
Right, because Verlander is not pitching consistently. Back to Joba Chamberlain. I watched his game. I watched the game today, and when he was pitching, Kurt Gibson pointed out that Chamberlain's pitch release point was too early. And right after I read that article on Chamberlain said he'd boo himself because he deserves to be booed by the fans, assuming he admitted that he let the fans down, that Chamberlain says he had good velocity. He just can't put it in the right spot that the catcher orders him to, and that's why those 3 hitters took him deep for home runs last night in the 9-3 loss. And then I found out today on a replay that Kurt Gibson pointed out that Joba Chamberlain's pitch release point was too soon and too high. Chamberlain is leaving his pitches up. He's got to hold on to the ball a little bit longer before releasing the ball. And that's the only way to throw more consistently. Throw more strikes. Yeah.
And don't throw meat over the plate. You know, I mean, you got to have some control. At the end of the day, you got to have some control.
Yep. Brian Eimers just asked a question I was going to ask you. Remember when Justin Verlander threw that no-hitter against the Brewers? I say yes. I listened to it. I listened to it live on XM satellite radio when I used to have it, and man, was I thrilled. I even spread the word around Lake City. And then he threw his second no-hitter in 2011 against the Blue Jays in Toronto at Rogers Center. He almost threw a perfect game until that walk in the 8th inning with one out.
And it shouldn't have been a walk. Remember the umpire cried and all that business, remember?
Yeah.
You got it wrong.
Umpires are terrible. Some of them should be fired, for crying out loud. Seriously.
Yeah, you're right. I felt like that with the Detroit Lions game and the infamous picking up the flag and all that.
Yeah, that was on 3rd and 1, by the way, with 8:25 to go. They should have taken the easy yard and then run the clock with short running plays and then scoring a much easier touchdown from the red zone to go up 10 points with about 1 to 2 minutes to go and pretty much seal that baby. You gotta play more. You gotta play much smarter than that.
Yup. They gotta be better. At the end of the day, that's what we're saying, right? They gotta be better.
Yeah, especially offensively. More smarter fundamentally. And when they're trying to put games away, they got to use their heads. They got to think more conservatively and try not to do too much.
Well, you'll hear on social media, you'll see that people will take the position that they don't want Stafford to be a game manager. See, they want him to drop back a 5-step drop and load it off deep. You know, like, that's what happened when they went down and scored on us, and we still had time for Stafford to bring us downfield. But everybody in the stadium knew that Stafford was going to drop 5 steps and try to uncork one. And he did that twice, and then he ended up getting fumbled because Riley Reef totally missed the block. He gets hit from behind, the ball pops out, turns the ball over, and the game is over. So, yeah, we're just revisiting history in the Lions. But yeah, That's how it happened. And it stinks. And you know what? That's all over. I think this is going to be a great year.
Yep.
Did you happen to see that interview with Tate where he said that we were ready? That we're ready to start competing for Super Bowls? That it's time for these guys to compete for Super Bowls? That the window is wide open for a Super Bowl run?
Not really, but I'll bet it sounded really darn good.
Yeah, the guy is excited. I'm glad that he has the credibility to talk about winning Super Bowls without it being written as a joke. Because in the past we've heard, Lions make proclamation, Reggie Bush said that we were going to be this, or, something else comes out in the paper that Cordell Stewart said that we were going to be that. And we really never amounted to those things. So it's really nice to be in a position, and maybe it's just me with the cornbread, maybe we'll have to replay segments of this, later on in the season just to see if we were eating cornbread or were we on to something. Because I think that the offense is going to take a big step. I think Amir Abdullah is going to be a big player for the Lions. I think that you're going to see Moore have an impact. I think that you're going to see Taylor Mays have an impact. I think that you're going to see Kyle Van Noy have an impact. I think you're going to see a big jump from Ziggy Ansah.
Yep.
I think you're going to see a lot of movement in the Lions as far as their roster moving forward. I think you're going to see a much faster offense than what we saw this year. It seemed very methodical to you, didn't it? When you watched the Lions operate on offense, other than when they had those crazy 2-minute comebacks where Matthew Stafford plays at an elite level to win the game for the Detroit Lions, outside of those moments, didn't the Lions offense seem lethargic? Seem almost like it was slow? It wasn't a fast-paced offense at all? Or a real potent, high-flying, quick-strike offense?
Not until late into the game. I agree. The Lions were just trying to the Lions offense was just trying to warm themselves up when they should have before the game started. And then, man, when you know it, the Lions came back and won. Their defense.
And then let's give credit where credit is due. As Matthew Stafford slappy, they came back in those games on the arm of Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Because he would throw, and they always say, well, he's got to make people better. Well, when he made those comebacks last year, when he had those comebacks, he was throwing those balls to guys that they weren't being thrown to Calvin Johnson. They weren't being thrown to Golden Tate. They weren't being thrown to Joik Bell, and they weren't being thrown to Reggie Bush. Now, Reggie Bush helped him out on one. He got a pass interference. He got a call. But outside of that, he was throwing them to unknown guys. He was throwing them to Riddick.
Yep. Yeah, Theo Riddick was a playmaker, catching passes, and he caught a game winner against the Miami Dolphins. I call him Craving Theo Riddick. Got it from the band Craving Theo.
Anyways, let's talk about the Pistons, man. Who did the Pistons get?
Well, before that, Brian Eimers wanted to ask you if this Taylor Mays guy, defensive end, was the real deal.
He's a safety.
Yeah,
Taylor
safety.
Mays is a safety.
Yeah, it's a safety. That's right. Thank you. Thanks for refreshing my memory.
Listen, I think when they got him, because they saw the size and the speed, they fell in love at the combine. When he was drafted by San Francisco, they fell in love with him at combine. It's where they fell in love with him. And really, they made a mistake because he was a fantastic player in college. He is what we call in the NFL an in-the-box safety. He actually plays the short underneath coverage routes and also the run. That's really what he's built to do. He is not a free safety. He's more in the mold of an Hedebo. We're going to bring on nickel. We're going to bring on nickel guys for them to take on the intermediate routes and the deeper routes in Terrell Austin's defense. What you're going to see from Taylor Mays is have him play close to the line of scrimmage. The guy can just lay wood. As far as numbers are concerned, as far as just raw athleticism and numbers, and when I say numbers, I'm talking about size, weight, speed, agility. By the numbers, the guy is off the charts. Where he fails is finding a place for him to play. And again, he did go to Cincinnati and spend some time time in Cincinnati, and in Cincinnati he did actually a fine job. He was a role player. Now Cincinnati has a pretty good defense, so that's really why he wasn't cracking the starting list. But he was utilized and was a role player in that defense. Now he was sent off, and he was cut this year. He was cut this year, and the Lions picked him up. And again, he was a second-round pick. And just like we lost Bill Bentley as a third-round pick, we are now switching over, and we're allowing Martin Mayhew to do what he does, and what Martin Mayhew does really, really well. And it's been throughout his tenure as the general manager for the Detroit Lions, is pick up those scrap heap guys. Pick up those scrap heap guys, dust them off, and find a place for them, and have them produce, kind of like what we saw last year in George Johnson. Now, Mr. Phillips, did you know, let me give you a quick fact about George Johnson.
Out with it.
Prior to last year and his only year with the Detroit Lions, how many sacks did he have in his career? How many sacks did George Johnson have in his career prior to last year with the Detroit Lions?
I would have to look that up.
He had 0. If you looked it up, if you were to have looked it up, you would have found out he had 0. When they got him, he was a camp body. He had 0. When they got him, he was a camp body. Now, that's what I mean. People cry. Now, people will make the argument, oh, you know, the one thing that was wrong with Martin Mayhew is he just can't draft. I mean, there's evidence of it just a couple of weeks ago. Bill Bentley, our third-round pick, was cut.
Baby, how long are you going to keep whining like a child?
He was cut. He was let go. We can't waste third-round picks. Another pick that we didn't get anything out of. But then enter Taylor Mays. I'm really intrigued to see what this kid can do. If this kid can figure it out, and Terrell Austin can figure out a place for him on the defense, and can push the right buttons with this kid could be phenomenal. This kid is the real deal as far as size, speed, height, weight. If we were playing Madden, you would build Taylor Mays as your safety.
Yeah, I would add Taylor Mays as a safety to my team. If I were playing Madden, NFL, and I don't really, I don't play video games, but yeah, I would actually add him to my Madden team. I would add him to my fantasy team, my NFL fantasy team online at NFL.com. And see how he fares with this season and beyond. And chances are he's gonna provide good results for this team.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
So am I.
So moving on to the Pistons, man, we were talking. We need to talk about the Pistons. Who did the Pistons? Tell us, Mr. Phillips. Who did the Pistons get in free agency? NBA free agency is going on right now, right?
Yep, they have signed former San Antonio Spurs center Aron Baynes to a 3-year, $20 million deal. Let's get to that first.
You know what? I kind of like him. I mean, listen, I kind of get what he's doing. I kind of get what Van Gundy's doing. I don't know if he's necessarily spending the money wisely, but I kind of see what he's doing. Based on the draft pick now and this particular pick, I kind of see what he's doing. I like it. I think the guy's gritty. I think the guy can do the dirty work underneath the boards. I think that's where you'll get your offensive rebounds, is out of that cat right there. That's what he was brought in to do, is rebound the basketball. Have you ever got a chance? Have you ever seen him play? Can you recall a game where he stuck out to you?
Not really. But he did help the Spurs win the 2014 NBA championship. That's pretty much all I know. But he is listed at 6'10", 6 feet 10, and 260 pounds, and averaged 6.6 points and 5.4 rebounds in 70 games with the Spurs last season, including 17 starts. The 28-year-old Baynes has played in 139 games in 3 seasons. That's
and when you say now hear me out on this, okay?
By the way, there's a player option on the 3rd season.
Hear me out on this, Mr. Phillips.
Yep.
He's backing up Tim Duncan.
Yep.
So when we sit around and we say, well, he scores 6 points a game.
Tim Duncan is returning for a 19th season in the NBA with the Spurs, by the way.
I know, he's a freak, isn't he? He's unbelievable. I've never seen anybody do battle with Father Time as well as Timmy Duncan.
Yep. I want to let my sports fans, all my sports fans, know about this, especially the NBA fans out there, especially the Spurs fans even the Spurs fans out there who cater to Tim Duncan and the Spurs team, respectively. Now continue.
Listen, he doesn't get a whole lot of time on the floor. So when we talk about these numbers of 6 points and 6 rebounds a game, he's doing that in a very limited amount of time. So really, it's a skewed number. The reason why I get excited is I have watched the Spurs in the playoffs, and I have because I have family that lives in San Antonio, so I keep an eye on them, and so that I can carry on an intelligent conversation with that part of the family. And I'll tell you what, the kid does a lot in a very little amount of time. I'm going to be intrigued to see what he does given more time, given him bigger opportunity. I'm intrigued to see what he does. I don't think the money was bad either. I think the money on him was great. I liked it.
Speaking of which, I just heard that Kenyon Martin just announced his retirement after 15 NBA seasons.
Yeah, but Kenyon was, now there's a difference. There's a difference between, for me, the difference between Kenyon Martin and what you just told me, 15 years, and Tim Duncan.
Yep.
And the amount of years he's gotten in.
19
is that Timmy Duncan has been a frontline player for 19 years. Kenyon Martin, he made a little noise in the beginning, but he's mostly been a bench player. He's fanning the guys that are really out there making the basketball team go. He's the guy, when you see him call a timeout and everybody comes and huddles around the coach, he's the guy with the towel fanning them. That's about the extent of his basketball career the last, I'm going to say 5 years. And that's great that he's been able to hold on in the NBA. But Tim Duncan's career and this guy's career are totally different things.
Now, moving on to the trade that we mentioned, the Pistons have traded a future draft pick to the Phoenix Suns for Marcus Morris, Danny Granger, and Reggie Bullock. And I thought that was a very good trade. Danny Granger is another offense producer, for example. I want your take on each of these.
Well, let's start with Danny. Danny's old. Let's start with Danny. Danny's old.
Yep.
So let's not sign him for too long. How long is his contract good to? Are we going to clear space? Did we just pick up his contract, or did we sign him to an extension?
Well, the Suns have cleared space. No word on Danny Granger regarding contract talks yet, but Danny Granger has been old. He's played for at least a decade. And how about Reggie Bullock and Marcus Morris? Unless you want to talk about.
I like Bullock.
Yep. Yeah, Bullock.
I like Bullock. He's okay. I think Bullock has a place as maybe a role player. I think Bullock is a bench player. I don't think Bullock is gonna. I don't think Bullock's part of a State Five.
And how about Marcus Morris?
Again, another bench player. I don't see anything there.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the Suns pretty much won that trade more than the Pistons did. Because the Suns are clearing up cap space for Marcus Aldridge. I've been hearing that Marcus Morris would be that Marcus Morris clarifies Detroit Pistons starting a small forward position. Brian Eimers commented that Morris is a beast. I'm going to read this from David Mayo of MLive.com. Marcus Morris clarifies Detroit Pistons starting small forward position. By evening on the first day of free agency, Stan Van Gundy had to cope with the reality that some top Pistons free agent targets were off the board and he would have to refocus his energies. By the second day, he had to feel a bit better. The Pistons acquired Morris and two other Phoenix Suns, Danny Granger and Reggie Bullock, for a future draft pick, for a second round pick in 2020. Both Morris and Baynes have $20 million contracts. Morris for 4 years, Baynes for 3 years with a player option on the final year. So it's 2 years plus the option year. By the time news of the deals leaked midday Wednesday, Van Gundy already felt better about the Pistons' fates. He had his starting small forward and a key backup center, and all he gave up was middling free agent money and a second round pick. They weren't the sexy, vibrant deals fans like. Hey, Van Gundy wanted the sexy, vibrant deal too. It wasn't there, and as Van Gundy has discovered time and again, 13 and a half months as president of basketball operations and head coach, the best venue to get there from here with a perpetual 30-win team is via the trade market. Morris steps in immediately as the starting small forward, where he will help to mentor his backup rookie Stanley Johnson, the Pistons' first-round draft pick. Danny Granger and Reggie Bullock, the other two pieces the Pistons picked up for the distant future second rounder, may not be quite the same fit. Granger has suffered through major injuries late in his career, worse, and doesn't have much left. Bullock figures to get a look in training camp and have the opportunity to play himself onto the roster. In both instances, the Pistons aren't making big plans around them. Granger makes $2.1 million this season, with Bullock making $1.25 million in the final guaranteed year of his rookie contract. The target in the deal, well, there's your answer, by the way, Los. The target in the deal was Morris, and for good reason. He'll be 26 next month, can gobble minutes, and has a value contract. A $20 million contract on 5 years is pittance compared to what happened the first day of free agency, and the Pistons had to decide whether to overpay for someone they might not even be able to get. The Pistons targeted Danny Green. They targeted DeMary Carroll. DeMary Carroll. Van Gundy had meetings scheduled with both. They were canceled quickly. Both were off the market on the morning of the first day of free agency. They also had other plans to secure a small starting forward via free agency, however. Those plans never reached fruition because Phoenix was willing to dump salaries that the Pistons were able to absorb for the price of a second-rounder 5 years distant. 3 of the Pistons starters next year have come in trades in the last 5 months. Reggie Jackson, Morris, and Ersan Ilyasova. They were retained in trades for Kyle Singler, DJ Augustine, and 3 second-round picks. The Pistons will live with that kind of trade productivity. The Pistons have other major pieces of business this summer. They still seek at least one more big man. They have to address Jackson's restricted free agency after all the other activity is complete, then contemplate how to handle Andre Drummond's contract extension. But after a slow start, the Pistons address 2 key objectives and have some comfort with their 2015-2016 regular season direction. End of article. So there are the articles. There are your answers there, Los.
Okay, well, what happened with Draymond Green? I thought they had Draymond Green peaked to $82 million over 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, $90 million. I was going to mention him for 5 years, but he decided to stay with the Warriors for 5 years, worth $85 million. I mean, that's not as much, but it's still pretty close to equal.
Hey, listen, that was a bad deal, dude. That was a bad deal. I'm telling you. The guy is a bench player. Well, who in the world pays a bench player $85 million?
I know, right? Not even the Golden State Warriors or the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons most certainly can't afford him. It can't afford to pay him that much to bench him. They got to start him, for goodness sakes.
No, he wouldn't be bench player. At Detroit, he would have been a starter. You're right. As we were discussing, you're right. He would have been a starter. But when you're handing out these contracts, are you just handing them out for things that you hope are going to happen? Because the guy has a very good World Championship Series. That's what he had. That's what brought him to the forefront. He wasn't good enough to crack the starting lineup on the team that he was on. Why are you going to pay him close to max money? Why are you going to give him almost a max deal?
That's crazy. That is just crazy. That many dollars.
LeBron money.
Are you out of your mind?
That's LeBron money.
That's LeBron money, indeed. Danny Granger is 32 and has played 11 seasons, Brian Eimers points out. Good job, Brian Eimers. Thanks. So, Granger is getting older, but he's not quite that old. 11 seasons, probably not enough for him to retire yet. But he has suffered major injuries, like I mentioned before in that article that I just read from David Mayo. About Marcus Morris clarifying the starting small forward position. and hopefully Granger Granger can stay healthy for the Pistons. That's all I have to give right now about him.
Yep, and I think we're gonna have to wrap this up here pretty soon.
I still have to talk about the Red Wings here.
Why don't we get right to that?
Yeah, let's do it. The Red Wings have agreed with former Washington Capitals defenseman Mike Green on a 3-year, $18 million deal, $6 million per year, and former Chicago Blackhawks center Brad Richards on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Now Richards is 35, I understand that, or 36 or whatever. And then before that they signed Griffin centers Andy Miele at the center and goaltender Thomas McCollum to 1-year deals. That's just bringing them up. But Mike Green is a right-handed defenseman that the Red Wings wanted, and some say they don't like him just because of some say they don't like Brad Richards because of his age, but I think Brad Richards has produced offensively. He helped the Chicago Blackhawks win this year's Stanley Cup.
Yep, he's a leader, right? I think so too.
Yep.
I don't feel bad about the Blackhawk player at all. I think that was a good move.
Yeah.
I think he's going to bring leadership. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's old. But who right now, if you had to tell me who's the veteran leader on the Red Wings who has championship experience?
Right now, Henrik Zetterberg is the captain, and Pavel Datsyuk and Nicholas Kronwall are the associate captains. The alternate captains, rather. And that's about it. But they also got they still have Tomas Tatar and Gustav Nyquist, and Tomas Jurko and Anthony Mantha. I think Jeff Blashill should have a chance to coach them again. Tatar, Nyquist, Jurko, and Mantha.
Yep, he's going to have a chance.
Thankfully, yes.
But my question to you is, again, who's the leader? Who is the leader with a championship pedigree?
I would say Brad Richards, because he has already won a Stanley Cup, and now I think Brad, with Henrik Zetterberg already being past his prime, should be stripped of his captaincy and pass it on to Brad Richards. I think Zetterberg has lacked in the second half of the last two seasons, and Brad Richards has outplayed him statistically.
Yep, I agree. Well, I wouldn't kick him to the curb or nothing. I'm not being mean like that.
No. Zetterberg should still be on the Red Wings team. Don't get me wrong.
But he should, you're right. It's time to bring in some new blood. It might be getting stale now. So, yeah, I'm really glad that they did get the old guy, to be honest with you, from the Blackhawks. I thought that was kind of a score. I think he means a lot more to the Blackhawks than they understand. You know, if they want to continue to win like they've been winning, I think he was a big piece to that puzzle.
And your thoughts on Mike Green, that right-handed shooting defenseman that the Red Wings really needed? They bought out Stephen Weiss too. But first, explain Mike Green.
It was a good move. I mean, it fits all the parameters. If Blashill thinks he needs that kind of a guy, then that's what he went out and got. I think, you know, I'm with him. I'm trusting him. He's putting the team together. You know, I don't know if we really even know what the Red Wings are going to look like. I mean, I know that I sat here in Grand Rapids and I watched him coach the Griffins, and the Griffins were a very good product. But who knows? I mean, who knows if he has a secret notebook in his house where, you know, he's written down as soon as if I ever get a chance to be an NHL coach, I would do this or I would do that. I don't know. So I think it's going to be fun to sit back and see how the season unfolds in the beginning. But it looks like he's trying to put a stamp on it. Again, it's a lot to take in. Chelios is now a coach. I mean,
an assistant coach.
Right. But the Red Wings are different. I mean, they've made quite an overhaul. This is a big transition for the Red Wings.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? You know which topic I thought was a really cool topic that came up on social media the other day?
Yeah.
Who's a better coach? Is Babcock a better coach, or is the guy who coached the Blackhawks a better coach? Who's the best coach in the NHL? Is it the guy that coaches the Blackhawks, who's won 3 consecutive Stanley Cups?
Well, it's not consecutive Stanley Cups. It's 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years. Babcock's only won 1 with Detroit.
So is he better? Is he better than Babcock?
Yes.
Is he the best coach? Who's the best coach in the NHL?
Right now, it would have to be Joel Quenneville. He has won more cups than anybody this past decade in today's world. 3 Stanley Cups.
Well, all I remember is when we weren't going to sign our boy, and he decided to leave and give Bashel his job.
Oh, Babcock?
Yeah. When Babcock left and he decided to give Bashel his job, everybody said that Babcock was the best coach in hockey.
Whoops.
In fact, my man Sean Belligerent, he said Mike Babcock was the best coach in the NHL.
Did he really say that?
Ah, shut up, you idiot.
Yep, he really said that.
Oh my God.
Are you out of your mind?
Now, I didn't know nothing from Shinola, so I'm not saying, oh yeah, see, I knew all along, or anything like that. All I'm saying is that I noticed the topic come up. I kind of read some comments to see, you know, what the whole take was on it, and I had no idea that this guy had won 3, and I knew Babcock had only won 1, and I never really even thought about it that way.
3-1. The math is there.
Very much under the radar. This guy is the best coach in the NHL, and I don't know. Is the NHL missing the boat and not promoting the? Yeah, are they not promoting this coach enough? I mean,
Joel Quenneville?
Yeah.
Man, the state of Michigan, of course the state of Michigan is not. Bunch of homers.
Well, no, of course the state of Michigan is not, and I wouldn't expect to. I would think less of them if they did. I'm just saying, as a league, don't you think that the NHL should promote their coaches a lot like the NFL promotes their coaches? Like Belichick.
Yes.
Belichick. Everybody knows Belichick is the man, right? Everybody knows that Belichick is the coach in the NFL, right? Everybody knows that.
You should get a promotion. You should get a promotion just as long as you prove that you're really excellent at it, that you're really great, that you're the best in the game. Period. Just prove it. Earn that spot by proving it.
Old boy in Chicago did, right?
Yep.
I think that they should bring him up more. That the league should spotlight him more.
Quenneville, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Because my mic is about to die.
That's about all I have, actually. With about
Taylor, it's been fun talking sports with you, brother. Yep.
Great talking sports with you too, Carlos Martinez. And that's going to wrap it up for Taylor's Detroit Sports episode 158.
Well, that about wraps it up for now. Head out.
And for Carlos Martinez, this is Taylor Phillips saying TTFN, ta-ta for now.
All right, brother. Good show.
Thanks.
Sorry, dude, I'm tired. I'm really tired. My phone's about to die.
That's fine. Just, I'll hang up and you shut your phone off. Recharge it or something.
All right, brother. Peace.
Yep. See you later.